Dearest Pat, thanks a lot for the letter I received from you this morning. You don't know how much that really did do. A letter from anybody will cheer a person up, but one from somebody you really like will do more than that. It's hard to explain, and I won't try, for you probably know how it feels. Or do you? I am glad to hear that you are going home for a day or two. Wish I could be there and go with you and meet your people. I know we could have lots of fun in the country. I really do love that. I do hope to live out a little way from town and have chickens, cows, pigs, and horses for riding. I think that is enough to make anybody happy, that is, if he has someone to enjoy it with him. Tell your mother and father I said hello, and that someday I hope to have the pleasure of meeting them. Pat, I still don't know anything more about my chance of getting leave than when I first wrote to you about it. It does look a little brighter, though, because one of the fellows put in a request this morning, and so far his has been approved of, but it still has about 4 offices to pass through before it is sure. If he gets it, that will leave 2 more in front of me. If I get mine, it will be around the last of June or the 1st of July. Would that suit you okay? Keep your fingers crossed, and maybe we will be able to have a day or two together. Wouldn't that be nice? So your sister is your superintendent now? Is she a good one? Tell her I said not to be too hard with you, for if she is, she may have the Navy to fight with. Oh well, part of it anyway. I would like to meet her. I used to go with a nurse at home. There seems to be something attractive about them. I guess it is their uniforms, for I've met some that wasn't very nice, but as a rule, I think most of them are pretty square shooters. I got a letter from the other day telling me this one had gotten married. As a rule, I think they make pretty good mothers. Jack's wife was a nurse, and he was an ambulance driver. That is how they got acquainted. Have you seen these 2 pictures yet? Mr. V and Tortilla Flat. Both of them are pretty good. I thought Mr. V was real cute with the tricks he was always pulling.
I'm a bachelor.
I wonder why.
Well, I'll tell you a secret. Years ago, I fell in love. I've been in love ever since.
Is she pretty?
Not pretty. Divinely beautiful.
Is she English?
No, she's Greek. Would you like to see her photo? I always carry one with me.
But that's...
Aphrodite Callipygos. The perfect woman. I found her at Lesbos. Ours is an ideal relationship, you know. They say no woman compares with her physical perfection. And as for her mental equipment, well, I tried to supply that.
Enclosed you will find a letter stating what to do in case of an air raid. I think it is pretty good, don't you? I guess I will have to make a trip up to Brunswick some weekend and see your friends. That is, if I ever get another weekend. I heard lots about Mrs. Chance. She must be a grand person, for Roy sure did go on about her while we were in training, and I also have heard Evelyn talk a lot about her. Roy showed me one letter one day, and it was really a nice letter. From the way she writes, you can get a picture of a Christian lady, and I say she is around 60 years old. How close did I come to it? You are like my oldest sister when she was in high school. You could not find a better girl sport than she was anywhere. She got a letter in basketball, baseball, volleyball, soccer, track, and archery. In fact, nearly every kind of sport they had up there she went out for and was good, too, in most of them. She came within 1 or 2 points of winning the Best All-Around Athlete trophy the year she graduated. And not because she is my sister that I say this, but I do think she deserves it more than the girls that won it did. Maybe someday, after this trouble is over, I'll have the chance to revive that old spirit in you. Anyway, it is something I can look forward to. Well, darling, as this is all the news, I will say so long. Think of me when you are on duty, and I will do the same, as if I don't already do that. Lots of love, Jimmy. My dear Jimmy, I know you were definitely surprised today, but it is a great pleasure to be mailing you this picture. This one was made especially for you, not as one that is really me, but one that can be the same any time, even years later. The autograph is simple, but expresses everything from my heart without use of lavishing words. I'm never as serious as the picture unless it is necessary, so please don't believe I'm so sour as that. I only hope it gives you half as much pleasure as I have gotten from yours. Love, Pat. Tuesday, 12:55 a.m., May 26th, 1942. Evelyn and I received our letter today and were just too excited over them. Of course, we argued about whose stationery was the prettiest. Just for fun, of course. Did you know that you have lots of talking to do when we do meet? I'm remembering all of those things that you are to tell me in person. Even if I don't, though, I have the letters for proof. I knew I was late with the picture, but I didn't know you expected interest. However, if you demand it, I guess I'll have to pay off, only it must be within reason. I'm really not too stubborn. I think probably the nicest place for outdoors is up on the mountain and also the Avondale Park. I think we would enjoy it. Evelyn may not like the idea of hiking, but I think we can talk her into it. The waterfalls from the Vulcan are very pretty. There are several places of interest that we might see. I feel like I'm going to have to explain this part, but I'm going to read it and then explain. Of course, you would pull a boner that would shut me up. And here is the explanation, because I could not figure it out. To protect Aunt Pat's reputation, this is what it means. It basically means to make a mistake. It kind of comes from the word blockhead or stupid person. And here's a few other little places it's been used in the 1940s. I'm just sorry that I can't beat you in that one about the grandchildren. I imagine it would be a pleasure to look at the pictures when we are old. I just had a mental picture of you with a long white beard, telling stories to a bunch of kids around your feet. I imagine you could tell some of your traveling experiences. That would be very interesting to me even now. I love to hear of other countries. This part was sweet to me because that is my memories. No long white beard, but my memories are of him telling his stories. And that's kind of what we're doing now. I must admit that I don't remember writing anything about the type of girl that you like. However, my mind does seem a bit blank sometimes. However, I'm sorry that for the first time, I must disagree with you on the subject that parents are to blame for the mistakes of their children. Most parents, I find, approve of clean fun, but they do not approve of drinking, smoking, and dancing in cheap places with cheap people. This is what hurts me so much, to see young high school kids take up those things. Of course, things may be different in your part of the country, or maybe I'm wrong in my ideas. However, in some incidents, we do find parents who do not have enough discipline over their children. I mean the right kind. Of course, there are quite a few nice girls yet, but there are never too many. I really don't think others are conscious of some things they do. The opposite sex to me is the same way. I appreciate the nice things you say about me, if I'm the one you're speaking of. It seems that we are old friends now, doesn't it? To me, our friendship is even more beautiful than the common ones. Maybe it's because of the oddness of everything. Our sincerity, too, means lots. Evelyn came home and went to the doctor today. She has a bit of sinus trouble. She got in the bed with me, and we talked with Mrs. Chance a while, and then both went to sleep. Mrs. Chance was telling us about our faults. I realize mine, but I have to laugh sometimes when they pop up. She's not going to work tomorrow either. She'll be all right if she'll just stay in bed for a while. I'm afraid this letter of yours has been somewhat of a mystery in several places, but I have enjoyed reading it over a dozen times, trying to figure everything out. Someday you'll just have to explain part of it to me. Well, dear, I must go before I have you wishing I didn't even exist. I'm glad, however, that my letters have meant something to you, and I hope that I can make you happy for a long, long time. Love, Pat. May 29th, 1942. Hello, how are you this fine afternoon? Gee, but I wish you were here in Jacksonville tonight, as I rate Liberty tonight, and all day tomorrow. In fact, I don't have to be back until Sunday morning at 7 o'clock. We could really have a good time together. Tomorrow night there should be a full moon, and it is really pretty around here when it is full. I know you would enjoy the scenery. Darling, I am sorry that my letters seemed a little mysterious. That's the trouble I have explaining something in writing. I hope that whatever it was that you could not understand didn't offend in any way, for I don't want to do that. You ought to have heard the comments that I have had made on your picture. Several of them made the remark that they were going to swipe it from me the first chance they got, and one wanted your address. But I guess I am jealous there, for I would not give it to him. Say, you had that made just for me? Thanks a lots. I'm glad you sent one of you not laughing. I will try and explain. For in your letter you said that you never looked that serious unless it was necessary. In other words, what I'm trying to say is that maybe you were thinking of me, which I hope you were. I don't think you look sour a bit. I do like to see a person every now and then look as if he is serious, and I also like to see a person smile. That used to be my nickname in school, Smiley. So you disagree with me about what I said about parents being the cause of the young people doing the way they do. When I see you and talk with you, I know you will change your mind. I don't mean that the parents want their children to do wrong, but this is what I meant. The people of the voting age is the cause. We make the laws and vote on them. The 18th Amendment is the main thing I had in mind. I admit that there were a good many young people drinking before it was repealed, but it has made it legal for them since it was repealed. They do it behind their parents' backs. Some parents even set a bad example for them. There are 400% more young people drinking today and going places they shouldn't go to than it was 10 years ago. Check and see if I am not right on that. Who is to blame? The young people, of course, directly. But indirectly, aren't our parents and the people of voting age the cause? Yes or no? My worthy opponent might say that the parents did not foresee all of this, which I agree on, but the fault still lies with them. I believe if the parents would give their children a Christian home and a good foundation of an education, that they won't take these things up. And if they do, it won't last long with them. Your mother and father are Christians, and they realized that to raise you and your sister up to be clean, sweet girls, that was the best way to do it. And you said in your letter a while back that your parents were church workers. So I bet they will agree with me. I admit all parents, as a rule, want their children to have good, clean fun, but I still say that they are to blame for voting for things they know will not be good for their children. If you don't agree with me now, I will wait and explain it to you better later. Well, as it is about time for supper, I will say, be sweet and think of me. Lots of love, Jimmy.
Your silvery beams will bring love, dreams will be cuddling soon by the silvery moon.
May 30th, 1942. Dear Jimmy, here I sit by the radio again, listening to By the Light of the Silvery Moon. Wish you were here to enjoy this lovely music as much as I do. Music fits any type of mood that I'm in. Even when I'm really ill, I love it. My dear, I certainly do know how you feel when you receive a letter. Besides, I don't think we need to explain. We know perfectly well. I only hope nothing will interfere with our letters. Of course, one can never tell, or can they? I've just gotten to town a little while and thought that you were probably getting your letters a little later than usual. Anyway, so I had better scribble a line before lying down for a while. I have to work tonight, you know. I really did enjoy my little stay at home. I got there about 9 yesterday morning and left today about 8:30 a.m. Papa had robbed the bees, and I helped Mama pack the honey, and did we get sticky. That's one time I was sweet all over. Ha. I fooled around with the kids, Sis's 2 little girls, 12 and 14, who live with my parents, and their clothes, and of course I had to ramble around and see everything. They had 5 of the cutest little baby ducks, and lots of baby chicks, and also a baby calf with a heart on its face. They have the nicest garden too. There are shades everywhere, and it's so cool that it's almost unbelievable. Wouldn't it be marvelous if we could spend days out there? I'm sure you would enjoy it because it's so peaceful and quiet. I hated to leave because Mama cried a lot. I don't think children appreciate home enough until they leave and go back. Sis had fallen and was in bed with her back and side and couldn't go with me. She certainly is nice to me. She really isn't hard-boiled with anybody, but just means business. Everyone seems to be crazy about her. The nurses in the colored ward are afraid of her, and our voices are so much alike that very often when I call down there, I get, "Yes, Mrs. Turner." Yes, her children are very healthy and just as sweet as you ever saw. I helped care for them so much when they were small that they seem more like my own than just nieces. Sis went into training when they were young. I guess that is one reason Sis and I are so close. I really appreciate the air raid warning. I certainly needed it, but of course I'm afraid if I followed those directions, I would find myself in a concentration camp somewhere, or would I? Mrs. Chance and Evelyn had a big laugh over it. By the way, Evelyn is back at work today too. Mrs. Chance is a very likable person and has just lots of friends everywhere. She's about 55 years old, I think, and has almost white short hair, which I keep waved. She is well preserved looking, even though her health is none too good, but she has it well in hand. After I've been home, I find myself worrying so much because my parents' health is not good at all, and I know we can't have them much longer. But with the world as it is, there's nothing that can be done. I hope that if it comes to where they can't live in peace, that they don't have to face the torture. They don't deserve it. I hope you understand this in me, but I know we all must face it. I hope you will forgive my being sentimental, but I know you understand. I must go now and get a bit of sleep. You don't know how much you do stay in my mind because, well, you're just different. Until the next time, love, Pat.
We're living in that vintage street.